Good evening. You're watching the news at 6 with me, Shan Russell. The news at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. Centre will honour all its financial commitments to Andhra Pradesh, says Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. Informs Rajya Sabha that state is making considerable headway to form new capital. For more non-bailable warrants against Vijay Mallya after he fails to appear in a court in connection with the cheque dishonour case. House told that he owes 294 crore rupees to the Airports Authority of India. Delhi court extends judicial custody of JNU students leaders Umar Khalid and Anirban Bhattacharya by 14 days. The University Pro Panel recommends rustication of 5 students. Russian forces start leaving Syria after President Putin's surprise withdrawal announcement. First group of aircraft take off from the airbase in Syria on Tuesday morning. And India take on New Zealand in their first encounter, the ICC World T20 World Cup. Upbeat men in blue have never beaten the Kiwis in ICC encounters. The top story, defunct Kingfisher Airlines owes Airports Authority of India 294.57 crore rupees. Stating this during question hour, Civil Aviation Minister Ashok Gajapati Raju informed Rajya Sabha that 3 cases have been filed in this regard. When members pressed for more details, Raju said legal processes had been initiated and added that the government would try not to make the mistakes of the previous government. In another response, Raju also informed the House that Air India also owes a lot of money to the Airports Authority of India.
There's a recovery suit filed. Suit number 597 of 2014 in the High Court of Judicature at Mumbai, sir. Of course, there are 2 bounce checks also, cases, and those are coming up for hearing on 28/3/2016. So legal action has been taken. Of course, these should have never happened, but it is unfortunate we will never be able to put the clock back and not do the mistakes that the previous government was done. But we will do everything in law to recover the money.
A Hyderabad court today issued 4 more non-bailable warrants against Vijay Mallya. The businessman failed to appear in a court here in connection with the alleged dishonour of cheques amounting to 2 crore rupees to JMR Hyderabad International Airport. A special magistrate issued the non-bailable warrants against grounded Kingfisher Airlines Chairman Vijay Mallya and other senior official of the company. The NBWs have to be executed by the 29th of March. The NBWs pertain to an alleged dishonour of cheques of 2 crore rupees to GMR Hyderabad International Airport Limited that runs the Hyderabad Rajiv Gandhi International Airport. GMR has in all 11 cases involving a payment of nearly 8 crore rupees. In October 2012, it had withdrawn a case of bounce cheques against Mallya after the airline agreed to pay the outstanding amount due to the airport operator. The court also then issued non-bailable warrants against 5 senior executives of the airline, including Mallya. Meanwhile, reacting to the case developments, political leaders continue to play a blame game on his departure from the country.
कार्यकाल में सबसे बड़ा बैंकों से अगर एक्सपोजर इस डिफॉल्टिंग कंपनी को हुआ है, विजय माल्या जी की कंपनी को हुआ है, तो वो यूपीए की सरकार की है। लेकिन अब सरकार कड़ाई से काम कर रही है। सब कुछ सब विषयों को हम लोगों ने सब विषयों पर ध्यान है और मुझे नहीं लगता है कि जिस तरह से कोर्ट का रवैया है, जिस प्रकार से बैंकों ने कदम उठाया है, नतीजा निकलेगा, देश का पैसा वापस लौटेगा, बैंकों का पैसा वापस लौटेगा।
एक बार हमने सदन में उठाया है, उसके बारे में सरकार जो भी कदम उठाना चाहिए कानूनी तौर पर, वो सबके लिए। आज एक मल्ल्या ने ऐसे बहुत से मल्ल्याज हैं, मेरे पास है लिस्ट 50 से भी ज्यादा कॉरपोरेट कंपनीज डिफॉल्टर्स है। इसीलिए ऐसे कौन से लोग हैं, कितने लोग हैं, उन सब का एक बार गवर्नमेंट उसको इंक्वायरी करके जो भी डिफॉल्टर है पैसे वसूल करना जरूरी है।
ये जांच करवाने के लिए और जानकारी करने के लिए अब जो भी है विजय माल्या ने कह दिया है कि हम आएंगे वापस, तो मैं सोचती हूँ कि ये सब हंगामा मचाना बंद करके उसको वापस आने दीजिए।
The BJP today ridiculed former Union Home Minister P. Chidambaram's remarks on the second Ishrat Jahan affidavit. Party spokesperson M. Akbar accused Chidambaram of tweaking content which he called was a betrayal to the nation.
Former Union Home Minister P. Chidambaram said he made what he described as small editorial changes to an affidavit about an alleged fake encounter of suspected Lashkar-e-Taiba members in 2004.
There is no part of the second affidavit which is wrong or inaccurate. It was drafted, vetted by the Attorney General, came to me. A compulsive habit of all lawyers, make small editorial changes.
Chidambaram's statement comes in the backdrop of then Home Secretary G.K. Pillai alleging political interference in the case. Pillai told news channels last month that the former UPA government chose to omit the link between 19-year-old Ishrat Jahan and the LET from the second affidavit filed before a court.
ये चिदम्बरम साहब सरासर धोखा देना चाहते हैं क्योंकि इन्होंने टेररिस्ट का नाम वहां से हटाया है। इसको एडिटोरियल चेंज नहीं कहते हैं, इसको देश के साथ विश्वासघात कहते हैं।
Two affidavits were filed by the UPA government in court in 2009 in as many months in the alleged fake encounter of Jahan and 3 others. The first affidavit said the 4 people killed in the alleged fake encounter were LET operatives. However, this portion was missing in the second affidavit filed after a few days. Pillai claimed he was unaware of the reasons that prompted the change.
चिदम्बरम साहब ने एफिडेविट बदला, ये तो उन्होंने कबूल किया, खुद कबूल किया, तो वो पिल्लई को क्यों ब्लेम कर रहा है?
गृह मंत्रालय ने सभी संचिकाओं पर छानबीन शुरू कर दी है। स्वाभाविक है, अगर इस प्रकार का तथ्य उजागर होता है तो ये अधिकार है सब लोगों को, और सरकार का तो विशेष अधिकार है कि अगर संचिकाओं में किसी के दबाव में फेरबदल किया गया हो तो उसकी जांच पड़ताल तो होनी ही चाहिए।
Chidambaram said Pillai had said in a public event in July 2013 that the second affidavit was perfectly justified and was now changing his view.
He's changed his view. In a free country, a person is entitled to change his view. Number one. Number two, it is now on record that the affidavit went to the Attorney General who vetted the affidavit. And now they say those papers are missing. To whose advantage is the vetted draft missing? I want the vetted draft. Draft vetted by the Attorney General, I want it. To whose interest is to say that the draft is missing?
In 2004, police shot dead Ishrat Jahan and her 3 accomplices on the outskirts of Ahmedabad. Police said she was part of a plot to assassinate then Gujarat Chief Minister Narendra Modi. A court-monitored probe found the encounter was fake, landing many senior police officers in jail. The case is still under trial. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
A day after a probe panel recommended rustication of JNU Students' Union President Kanhaiya Kumar and 4 others, Kumar said that the show-cause notice issued to him has no mention of his expulsion. Meanwhile, a Delhi court today also extended the judicial remand of Umar Khalid and Anil Bhattacharya in the case.
No mention or warning of expulsion from the university in the show-cause notice, says JNU President Kanhaiya Kumar. Kumar led a march for freedom, putting forth 5 demands, including one for resignation of HRD Minister Smriti Irani. Protesting students also demanded release of Anirban Bhattacharya and Umar Khalid.
ये अपील करना चाहता हूँ कि जेएनयू का छात्र संघ इस देश के अंदर लोकतंत्र को बचाने की लड़ाई लड़ रहा है। इसी सिलसिले में आज एक पीपुल्स मार्च किया जा रहा है, आज़ादी के लिए एक मार्च किया जा रहा है, और मार्च का जो डिमांड है वो यही है कि इस देश के अंदर लोकतंत्र को बचाया जाए, विश्वविद्यालयों को बचाया जाए और सामाजिक न्याय को लागू कराने के लिए रोहित वेमुला एक्ट को लागू कराया जाए, और जो छात्र जिनको राजद्रोह के मुकदमे में जेल में डाला गया है उनको रिहा किया जाए। ये मुद्दे हैं। एक कारण बताओ नोटिस मिला है जिसमें रेस्टिगेशन की कोई बात नहीं है, निष्कासन की कोई बात नहीं है।
ये कमेटी शुरू से हमको सजा देने के लिए ही बनाई गई थी। ये कमेटी कोई जांच वाच करने के लिए बनाई नहीं गई थी, और उसका एक नमूना जब 24 घंटे के अंदर ही हमको बिना हमारी बात रखे हुए हमसे बताया तक नहीं गया और हमको सस्पेंड कर दिया गया। तो ये तय थी कि इस कमेटी का क्या रिपोर्ट आना, ये हमारे लिए कोई बहुत आश्चर्यजनक, कोई सरप्राइजिंग बात नहीं है।
Meanwhile, Patela House Court has extended Omar Khalid and Anirban Bhattacharya's judicial custody by 14 days. They were arrested on charges of sedition. Khalid and Bhattacharya had moved the Delhi High Court seeking protection in order to surrender, but the court, while directing the students to surrender, adjourned the hearing. Earlier, a high-level inquiry committee formed to look into the February 9 incident on the JNU campus recommended rustication of 5 students, including Students' Union President Kanhaiya Kumar, for violating university rules. The committee also mentions names of Omar Khalid and Anirban Bhattacharya, the other 2 students arrested by the Delhi police. The committee has also recommended a fine on these students. The office of the Chief Proctor and the Vice Chancellor will take a final call. A meeting in this connection is likely to be held later this week. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today assured the Rajya Sabha that the centre will fulfill all commitment made towards Andhra Pradesh in letter and spirit. Leader of the opposition and Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad raised the issue during 0 hour. He said 2 years ago, when the state of Telangana was carved out of Andhra Pradesh, the biggest issue was that of capital Hyderabad. He reminded the government that the then Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, announced measures to mitigate the hardship of Andhra Pradesh. In his response, Jaitley said the centre was fully committed to helping Andhra Pradesh. Referring to the revenue deficit, Jaitley said each paisa or rupee of this revenue deficit is being paid to Andhra Pradesh. We will continue to pay that, unquote. On the new capital, Jaitley said that the state is making considerable headway towards it. Funds have been sanctioned and more would be released towards it, he added. Time now to take a look at what else has been making news around the country nationwide. Special task force in Uttarakhand arrested a man and recovered 5 tiger skins and bones from him. The accused was identified as Ramchandra from Shampur village. Forest officials said Chandra admitted that he hunted tigers in Najibabad forest area. "17 Maoist rebels and 100 Maoist sympathizers surrendered before the BSF and police in Malkangiri district of Odisha. Malkangiri DIG K. Raghava said that the people who had surrendered were disillusioned by Maoist ideologies. FMCG firm Procter & Gamble discontinued manufacture of its popular brand Vicks Action 500 Extra with immediate effect after the government banned fixed-dose combination drugs. The move comes after Health Ministry banned about 344 fixed-dose combination drugs, which includes paracetamol and caffeine. The Trinamool Congress found itself in a tight corner in the Lok Sabha over a sting operation, with the government insisting that the truth has to prevail and favouring a probe into the alleged bribery charges against some of its MPs. The House saw BJP, Congress and Left making a common cause to target the TMC. However, the party claimed that the charges were a political conspiracy ahead of the West Bengal polls. The sting operation aired on Monday shows 11 leaders of the TMC, including State Ministers Subrata Mukherjee and Farhad Hakim, being allegedly bribed to help a fictitious Chennai-based company get business in the state. Time for us to take a short break. That's lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries. Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, Pope Francis announced today that Mother Teresa will be made a saint on the 4th of September. The announcement came at a meeting of cardinals to give final approval to several sainthood causes. The Pope had cleared the way in December for sainthood for the Nobel Peace Laureate, who died in 1997 at the age of 87. The Albanian nun and missionary was by far the most high-profile of the 5 candidates for sainthood considered by the Vatican panel on Tuesday. More than 300,000 pilgrims went to Rome in 2003 for Teresa's beatification, the first step towards sainthood. Known across the world, Teresa was awarded the Nobel Prize for her work with the poor, sick, old and lonely in the slums of Calcutta, one of India's biggest cities, now known as Kolkata. Now, some international news, and Russia has begun withdrawing military equipment from Syria after Moscow announced it will pull the bulk of its forces from the war-torn country. Russia's decision has been welcomed by the Syrian opposition in the West. The UN Security Council also hailed the move as a positive step.
Считаю, что задачи, поставленные перед Министерством обороны и вооруженными силами, в целом выполнены. Поэтому приказываю министру обороны с завтрашнего дня начать вывод основной части нашей воинской группировки из Сирийской Арабской Республики.
After Putin's surprise announcement out of the blue, Russia began withdrawing military equipment from Syria after nearly 6 months. However, Putin signaled a military presence would continue in the war-torn country.
При этом наши пункты базирования морской в Тартусе и авиационные на аэродроме Хмеймим будут функционировать в прежнем режиме.
Putin held a telephonic conversation with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad ahead of his announcement. He also called the US President Barack Obama on Monday and discussed efforts needed to fully implement the cessation of hostilities and to step up diplomatic efforts in Syria to end the 5-year-old civil war. Syrian opposition and the West welcomed the decision with cautious optimism.
من أن نتحقق يعني من طبيعة هذا القرار لابد من أن نتحقق من يعني ما المقصود به. إن كان هناك قرار بسحب القوات فهذا قرار إيجابي لابد من أن نرى ذلك على الأرض.
In Geneva, the UN-brokered peace talks resumed on Monday. The talks were hailed as positive and constructive by the Syrian government.
قدمنا له أفكاراً
We submitted ideas and views
بعنوان عناصر أساسية للحل السياسي.
elements for a political solution.
أفكار من شأنها أن تثري
In the hope that these ideas
جهوده
will enrich his efforts,
الدبلوماسية,
his diplomatic efforts.
However, union mediator asked both warring sides to seize the opportunity, saying there was no plan B if the talks fail. The new round of reconciliation talks between the Syrian government and opposition from March 14 to 24 will see the UN Special Envoys meeting with the two sides on alternating days, aiming to seek lasting peace in the country.
The second one will be, I would say, a week, 10 days after the new recess, which is 24th. And then that round should be lasting at least 2 weeks. And then the third round would be after another recess. Now, by then, we believe that we should have at least a clear roadmap. I'm not saying an agreement, but a clear roadmap.
Russia began airstrikes in Syria in September 2015 at a time when Assad was losing his ground against rebels. The intervention allowed Syrian government troops to retake 10,000 square kilometers of territory. Questions still remain on the practical implications of Putin's announcement, as troops will remain in Latakia province, from where Moscow had launched most of its airstrikes. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Myanmar is set to get its first civilian president in more than half a century. As expected, Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi's close confidant, Hidden Kaur, won the landmark presidential vote on Tuesday. Suu Kyi made it clear that she will control the new government by proxy, even though she can't be president. Though overcoming strong constitutional power still held by the military remains a sizable challenge ahead.
The man of the moment in Myanmar, Tin Chau, will be the country's first civilian, first democratically elected president in over 50 years. President-elect Chau won with 360 of the 652 votes cast. There can be no mistaking who remains at the helm of affairs in Myanmar, though, having openly voiced as much. He beat another NLD candidate and one put forward by the military. Both of them will be vice presidents. 70-year-old Tin Chow is said to be a soft-spoken intellectual who attended university in the UK. He has a reputation for honesty and loyalty and has kept a low profile. Chow's choice itself arises from his long-time loyalty to democracy icon Aung San Suu Kyi. He played a senior role at the charity founded in honor of Aung San Suu Kyi's late mother and has been frequently seen at the NLD leader's side. Chow replaces Thein Sein, who will step down at the end of the month after 5 years of army-backed rule. Indeed, a key challenge for this government will be taking the military along. The military still controls the key security ministries of Home, Defence and Border Affairs and has a 25% control over Parliament. For now at least, even non-NLD party leaders are hopeful. Taking all players along will be critical as Myanmar's first democratically elected government faces a formidable challenge to deliver the reform and economic growth demanded by an electorate teeming with huge expectations. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Let's now take a look at some more news and updates from around the world in Global Buzz. The head of Bangladesh's central bank, Atiur Rahman, resigned over allegations of a bank fraud. Rahman submitted his resignation to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina after it emerged that cyber thieves stole more than $100 million from the bank's account with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The theft happened in February, but Rahman did not inform the government. According to reports, the gang used stolen credentials to make requests to transfer cash look legitimate. The North Korea state media quoted its leader Kim Jong-un saying the country will soon conduct a test launch of a ballistic missile capable of carrying nuclear warheads. Media reports said that the comments were made during the supervision of a successful simulated test of a ballistic missile. South Korean President Park Geun-hye condemned the threat. Migrants attempting to cross into Macedonia from Greece were sent back by authorities. The migrants tried to enter Macedonia through a rain-swollen river near the Greece-Macedonia border. On Monday, more than 1,000 migrants marched out of Greek transit camp and many were detained. However, Macedonian authorities said on Tuesday that 600 were detained and returned to Greece. Some sports now. And India will begin its campaign in the ICC World T20 by taking on New Zealand in Nagpur today. Both teams are geared up to win the match. Now, it's form and conditions that favour the home side, but the Kiwis will take heart from the fact that India has never defeated them in T20 matches.
A superb build-up run has made India the clear favourites for an unprecedented second World T20 title, but the informed host will have to guard against complacency when they take on a spirited New Zealand in their campaign opener in Nagpur today. The inaugural champions of the tournament have won 10 of their 11 T20 matches this year and have given a morale boost to men in blue.
It's going to be tough, but we would like to focus on our strengths. The oppositions do not matter for us so much at this stage. Obviously, we need to understand the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition players, but it's more to do with the way we have played and continue the same way and probably try to execute the same things that we have done, which has got us success.
New Zealand too is confident, having won 4 out of their last 5 T20 tournaments against Pakistan and Sri Lanka. The Kiwis have also a record of winning all 4 matches played against India. But the Kiwis this time would be missing the firepower and attacking captaincy of Brandon McCallum, who retired recently. The team is led by Kane Williamson with a set of explosive batsmen in Martin Guptill, Colin Munro, Grant Elliott, Ross Taylor and Corey Anderson.
Yeah, we're certainly expecting spin to play a big part in this tournament. I suppose judging by the warm-up games in Mumbai, they perhaps suited seamers and it swung a little bit. It was a very good surface, but from the cricket we've seen here at Nagpur, the spin looks like it'll play a big part. It's important that we adjust our game plans accordingly.
No host country has won the T20 World title in the last 5 editions and none has repeated a title triumph. But will the familiar condition of having played on home pitches help the men in blue script history? that will be answered soon. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more sports action on Sports Beat. Former world champion Viswanathan Anand will take on Russian Sergei Karakin in the round 4 of the candidate chess tournament in Moscow today. Anand is presently in the joint lead with Karajakin and Armenian Levon Aronian with 11 rounds still to come in the tournament. Former Leicester and Fiji rugby star Seru Rabeni passed away at the age of 37 of a suspected heart attack. Rabeni represented Fiji at the 2003 and 2007 World Cups and Premiership side Leicester between 2004 and 2009 before joining Leeds in 2009. Third seed Stan Wawrinka advanced to the 4th round at the India Wells, beating Russia's Andrei Kuznetsov 6-4, 7-6. This in 81 minutes. The Swiss world number 4 will next face Belgian David Goffin, who defeated Argentine Guido Pella 4-6, 6-3, 6-2. Shinji Okazaki's overhead kick gave a tabletopper Leicester a 1-0 win over Newcastle United at the King Power Stadium on Monday. Okazaki's goal came in the 25th minute from a headed pass by Jamie Vardy. With this win, Leicester City re-established a 5-point lead with 8 games to go. Well, that's it from us. Goodbye.